guys.
All right, guys, we're here today to check out a video from a band that I was gonna say we saw, but that's not true. Well, you saw them from far away. I saw them up close.
Yeah.
At the Frankfurt airport last year when we were heading to Finland. I saw three of the guys, including Rolf, the lead singer. They were at the bar. They were having some beers at the Frankfurt airport. They were right beside.
We didn't want to bother them though.
No, what happened was I went there. The bar. I had the worst diarrhea ever, like ever. I barely made it to the toilet when we landed in Frankfurt. So that place where they were drinking was kind of like a bar slash like what do you call it? Not a grocery store, but they sell like sandwiches and stuff like that. So I went there to buy bananas because they bind you up. So I went there to buy the bananas and they're sitting there having a drink. And I'm like, first of all, I don't want to bother them. They're having a drink. They're obviously in between flights. They're flying somewhere for a show or whatever. They don't know who the fuck I am. I don't want to go bother them. What if I start talking to them and then I get the shits? How?
Oh.
Like, what am I going to do? Like, say, hold on a second. I got to run and I'll come back to finish this conversation. So I was like, you know what? I gotta live this for another opportunity.
Yeah.
So I ran to you. I ate the banana, and I said, "Look, the guys from Primal are over there having a beer."
Yeah.
And you were like, "Why don't you go?" Yeah. And you were like, "Why don't you go say hi?" And I'm like, "Nah, I don't want to bother them." But deep inside was really the shits.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't want to.
I'm like, that's never stopped you before because I forced you to go.
Carnifex.
Carnifex. I forced you to go meet them.
Exactly.
You were like, you love their new album, and I'm like, you have to go see it.
But you know me, I normally, when we see a band, not at a show, but whenever we see a band outside of a show, like...
And they're relaxed.
And they're relaxing, they're doing their thing. I never want to bother them.
Yeah.
Never. You're always the one that tells me, oh, go say hi, whatever. I never want to bother them because I don't want to be that guy. Because it's hard for you to draw the line between just going and saying hi and nice to meet you and then overstaying your welcome and then meanwhile they're like, what the fuck, this guy is never gonna leave, we're just trying to have a beer here and this beer is over here. So I have a hard time knowing where that line is, and because I have a hard time knowing where the line is, I'd rather not be in a situation where I have to make the judgment call. So I like to just leave people alone. But really the toilet issue is really what did make me go and say hi. So anyways, we're here to check out a video from their upcoming new album. They have a new album, Metal Commando. I don't know if they're gonna go commando or they went commando when they were recording the I hope not when they were recording the video, but when they were recording the album. But it's a cool ass name, Metal Commando. I'm Alive is the name of the song. This is an actual music video, so there's no lyric video, none of that jazz. Before we get started, I just want to say, because I always make sure that whenever one of us already knows the song, we always mention that I already know the song because I already pre-recorded the album review. And I'll say this, one of the best, if not so far in my opinion, the best heavy metal / power metal album of 2020. It's really outstanding. And that's all I'm going to say because I want you to check out this track and then tell me what you think.
Okay.
All right?
This is the sound of the dying.
All right. So what did you think?
I feel lifted. I
You feel alive.
I feel alive. I am alive.
Yeah.
Oh,
You killed the pain inside.
yeah.
All right.
Absolutely amazing. Over the top solo, which
Two solos.
which I mean, it's the way to go.
For a song like this,
It's
it's
the-
really the way to go. I agree with you.
The over the top solos, I love over the top solos so much because it just brings a smile to my face.
Especially when the two of them are like, when they're together with their
Yeah.
right. It has that old school feel to it.
Back to back guitar solo.
Yeah. It has that old school feel to it. What did you think of the vocals on this track? With a few oikos moments there.
The oikos moments, definitely. These guys were waiting in the airport to go to Greece to get more oikos.
So I don't think they were going to Greece, but yeah, I mean, they were definitely having some cold ones. By the way, I've spoken to Ralph. I did an interview with him, and I actually mentioned that I saw them at the airport, but I didn't want to bother him. He said next time that we cross paths for me to come and say hi to the guys and have a beer with them. So I had to mention that. Like, I saw you guys at the airport. He's like, why didn't you come and say hi? I was like, I didn't want to bother you guys. I didn't tell them about the
shits and six?
the shits and giggles. No, I didn't tell them about that. All right, so so the vocals, they top notch.
Top notch.
All right,
It was like his guitar solo, but his vocals,
especially in the chorus.
especially at the end there.
Yeah, well, but in the chorus is really bombastic.
But in the end there, when he hit that high note,
It's a perfect closure.
Yeah.
It closes off the track pretty well. I'll say this. When I started listening to this album, I had really high expectations coming into this record. Because these guys are back with Nuclear Blast, a label that they had been with in the past before, but then they went somewhere else. Then, it doesn't matter where they went. They've went and they've came back to Nuclear Blast.
They came back home.
Yeah, I think there's a sense of feeling like home because they've been with a label before. It's a German label. They're German. So there's a sense of comfort there. You know what I mean? So when I got the album for review, I had my expectations were high, right? Like they were. When I started listening to the record, I was like, wow, this is going to be one of their best albums in a very long time. And like I said at the beginning of the video, I really feel like this is perhaps so far in 2020 the best power metal / heavy metal album of 2020. It has, when you look at this album, and I don't want to say too much because I want people to check out the album review.
Yeah.
But the album has that classic structure. It's bombastic. The songs have alternate themselves really well from like faster tracks and then more classical heavy metal style tracks, and then some that are more like power metal driven. Like they do a good job like alternating, then dips in the middle with a ballad, and then it picks up back again the intensity in the second half of the record. So it has a classic structure to it. The songs have a classic structure to it, and the album has a classic structure to it. But I felt two elements on this album are absolutely outstanding. The guitar playing is just out of this world. The guitar playing is absolutely phenomenal on this album, and the vocals. When you put those two elements together, this is an album that you can put it on loop all day. And you just it doesn't become repetitive. It's not an album that tires you out. That after you listen to it a few times, you realize, okay, I need a break. I need to go listen to something different before I come back to that again. There's some albums that do that to you.
Yeah.
This is not one of those records. I honestly was blown away by this album the moment that I listened to it. And I think they have an absolute incredible album in their hands. I also felt that they went a little bit. With this album, they went a little bit back into their roots. So the sound on this album sounds a lot more like their earlier records, not as much as their latest albums. So it has a little bit of a throwback feel to it. So it's an album that has that's in touch with the past of the band, but it still sounds modern. It doesn't sound like an album that was recorded 20 years ago. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it has elements of their sound and their DNA from earlier on in their career, but it doesn't feel like it was recorded then.
It feels dated.
No, it feels like it's like a recent album. It just has this throwback approach to it.
Yeah.
As far as the structure and the sound is concerned. Really love this record. And so that's why I wanted to do this track. I wanted you to at least to listen to one of the songs on the album. Because I know some bands, if we don't do a video or something like that, the album goes under your radar and you don't even know that was an album. It just... Because he's one of those guys that he has like this staple of bands, and when he finds a band that like releases something new that he likes, he listens to that band ad nauseum. That's all he listens to is this one band for like months. So if I don't introduce him to some of the other stuff in between by doing these videos and you guys recommending bands and stuff like that, he's only going to listen to the same bands over and over again.
Not really, because if I listen to a song I like, I'll download the whole album and I'll listen to the whole album.
I know, but a lot of the times albums go under the radar because you're so focused on listening to
other songs.
I mean, you went through a stretch, all you were listening was Catatonia. Not one album, you were listening to everything, but all you were listening is to them. So any other band...
I was switching in between.
Yeah, that's what you say, but every time you got into the car, all I could hear was Catatonia. So sometimes I feel like I need to introduce you to a band here and there, because otherwise... This album, for example, perhaps would go under your radar, because you don't listen as much to bands like this now. You used to be like your bread and butter, but now you're listening to other stuff. You still listen to power metal and heavy metal, but you listen to other stuff. So I felt like you need to listen to this greatness. To this German Oikos. German Oikos.
Yeah.
What, sir?
I was going to say, I can't let this one go under my radar.
No, you can't. This is a really magnificent record. Really is. What Firepower was to Judas Priest, was it 2018 when that album came out? I think it was 2018. This album, Metal Commando, is to Primal Fear this year. I rate those two albums like equal. Like in terms of what, not only how they sound and how they feel, but what they represent to those bands. Two iconic bands. So I rate these two albums at the same level. All right, on that note, come back tomorrow. We'll have more videos for you. See you guys.
See ya.